What's up, guys? Scott here with Wandering the Wilderness, and have another product review for you. This time I'm bringing you the KL41 Plus hunting light. Stick with me and we'll get into it. Alright, just to go over this KL41 Plus hunting flashlight and some of the specs, and then I'll get into the box here and bust it open for you. Inside here you're going to get 4 different bulbs. Alright, so you're going to get your white, your red, your green, and your IR. Now, I've noticed a lot of these companies, and I didn't recognize whether this one did or not, they'll mark that IR with the like the blood, but the IR and the UV, the IR is going to be more so for the night vision, and UV is only going to make that blood glow if another chemical has been sprayed on it to make it glow. But in my experience, when I've used UV to try to track, it will make the blood black, and that can kind of stand out a little bit more when you're searching green or leaf type vegetation, leaf debris, leaf litter. It can make it stand out more because of a hard black. But typically, I'm going to use the bright white light. What this was designed for is to mount, as you can see here in the picture, on your scope to your hunting rifle, and use the red or the green or the IR to night hunt. Now, I'm sure there's some places that that's not allowed, but there are certain species that you are allowed to hunt at night. Coons, you hunt at night. Coyotes, in my state, you are allowed to harvest by any means, and hogs, which aren't in my state, but I know in Texas hogs are allowed to be harvested by any means, and night hunting is something that tends to be the way people do it, because they've gone to being primarily nocturnal feeders, and so that gives you the highest opportunity of success when hunting those animals and trying to manage those populations. So that's what this light was designed for, is to use as red-green hunting. Now, in my military experience, when we were in a forward operating base that was surrounded by villages, we'll say within a 15-minute drive time, we did not and were not allowed to use white lights, and no white light was allowed to be visible from your combat housing unit. Right, so basically what that means is inside the base, when you were going from A to B, you're only allowed to use red and green. The light breaks up. It's also really good for map reading. Now, red and green, depending on the map that you have, it may change or make it more difficult to see some of the lines on your map. All right, but when you are doing like a escape and evade, or nighttime land nav, and you're needing to keep that stealthy approach, you can get underneath your poncho with your map and use your red and green light, because red and green disperses sooner than white light, so you don't get as much visibility at a distance. So that's kind of the point on that. So that's a whole nother topic. We can get into that more. I'm just kind of letting you know some of the experiences I've had with red and green light outside of the white. Alright, so on this one, with the white light, you're going to get 1.5 hours at 420 yards. So that's going to be at its brightest setting. And the thing that I absolutely love about this flashlight on its white light, you have low, medium, high, strobe, and SOS. Those are great features. I think every flashlight should have those features. Stick to the low settings, you're going to get more runtime out of your battery, but if you really need to light it up, you can kick it up into the high. If you got rescue coming and you've been lost, you want to increase that visibility, you can get that SOS going. And this sucker is bright. Alright, I'm going to add some footage of that a little bit later. But that SOS is going to shine up and light up everything in the forest to make you more visible to helicopter search parties. And then the strobe is used as, confusing the eye of something that may be a possible threat. Alright, so it makes it harder for them to focus on a target when they're basically being consistently blinded with the strobe. So, I've never used it against an animal. I know it works against a human. Not that I've used that combat-wise either. Makes it hard for you to sight to see what you're trying to shoot. But it's something that might give you a couple extra seconds of time or distract someone. So that's the whole purpose, tends to be, of the strobe. So take that for what it's worth. The red, you're going to get 2.5 hours at 240 yards. The green, 2.5 hours at 300 yards. So green travels farther than red. And then your IR, you're getting 2 hours. All right. So inside this kit, I'm going to open it up here. And it comes in this really nice box, right? So each one of these are your individual lenses. You get your green, your IR. Mine had red in it when I bought it, and the white was in this container. This right here, this cord and all that, this mounts onto the end of the flashlight, so you actually have a button toward the end of your weapon. So if you want to keep it mounted on your weapon, you have a cord to use that control with. Comes with a reusable, rechargeable power bank here, or battery pack, and it came with two 3000 mAh batteries. One's in it, and they gave an extra one. Also came with the gun mount to go onto your scope, and another gun mount that if you wanted to mount on your barrel. Now I did put this on my Rascal 22, just strapped it onto the side, and was walking around. I seen some rabbits, but the only problem I found with on my Rascal 22 in that setup is that it blocked my open sights. So I think this would work better maybe on a small scope, or maybe something like a shotgun that you're not necessarily needing the sights. You just use that Kentucky windage and line it up on the end of the barrel. But that was my experience. Nothing against that. That's just how sometimes products work. If you don't have a scope and you got open sights, things that you add onto it are going to block those open sights. And only my hunting rifles have scopes. Everything else is open sight. But let's take a look at this flashlight here. So on the back, you got a good solid button. You have holes here for the lanyards, and your battery goes inside here. All right. So when you unscrew it, you can unscrew the whole top. All right, and there is your battery, or your light, excuse me. So you can unscrew this section here, and that is the whole light section. Looks like a very solid construction. There's O-rings at every joint, so it feels like it's going to be something that is very waterproof. I have used this for probably, I'm going to say, over a month now. I've used it hunting. I have used it getting up and down tree stands. I've taken it to work with me and looked in crawl spaces and up in attics. And this thing does great. I had one battery that I fully charged and have drained completely and have now recharged, and this battery is the second battery that I've used that I've had in it. I wanted to try everything out before I brought it to you, and I have to say, so far, out of many of the different flashlights I've owned and try, I really like this one. It's not too big, not too heavy. I like using it just as a handheld flashlight. I love the 5 different settings. I don't really use strobe much other than to annoy my kids or my dog, but I really like the low, medium, and high to increase your runtime, and that SOS feature is just awesome as an outdoorsman, because you don't really ever know. So also inside the kit, I didn't show this a second ago, it does come with spare O-rings and an Allen tool to use all the scope mounting stuff. So say if you wanted to mount this to your hunting rifle and come into your tree stand using this light on your hunting rifle, you have that option. If you wanted it mounted on your hunting rifle to use for tracking, even the white light to really light it up, you have that option as well. If you find yourself as a hunter lost, you have the strobe, right? So you have multiple options with this flashlight with the 2 rechargeable batteries, which is just great. The case and the security of the items are wonderful, and I just have been really impressed. So I'm going to add some clips of the white light flashing and showing some of the depths everybody knows what green and red and all that looks like, and I already gave you the yards, but I'm just going to add the clip of the white light in the low, the medium, the high, the strobe, and the SOS. I shot this off my back porch. I probably shot maybe 20 yards into the wood line, right at the wood line. So you're going to be able to see, you know, low, medium, high at a 20-yard difference. And this thing is, again, I can't say enough, very impressed with it. So if you're out looking for a good, budget-friendly, but high-quality flashlight that has multiple options for you, I would definitely recommend the KL41 Plus. All right, I'm going to put the link in the description box. I want to give a special thank you to them for sponsoring this video and sending me this product. I've been very pleased with it. I've had zero complaints on the quality of how this thing works and how the batteries hold up, and how well it just lights everything up. I've been very impressed. So if it's something you're interested in, you know, you can never have enough flashlights. So I've done multiple flashlight reviews. You know, you need them, have one in every one of your vehicles, have them in your house in case of a power outage, have them in the shop or the toolbox for working on cars or whatever. You just can't never have enough of them, and it seems like you lose them all the time. So, what is the old saying, two is one and one is none? I'd rather have more than zero. So, anyway, special thank you for sponsoring this video. I'm going to add that link in now so you can see some of that light. And if you guys are interested in picking one up yourself, check out the link in the description box. Thanks for watching. God bless. Dim. Medium. Right. Strobe. SOS.